But I feel like if it's going to be a tower defense and that's the part that has a fail state, if the farming doesn't have a fail state, then that should be the part that's the main focus.
Right.
So tower defense first, farming second, but the farming can enhance your tower defense, for instance, or encourage
Right.
it in different ways.
I wanted to talk about a certain game that I played recently, and the reason why I want to talk about it is because we need to have a conversation about genres that don't go together. Recently on the show, I had talked a little bit about the idea of doing like Stardew Valley, but with Dark Souls. Remember when we started to make like almost the necromancer farming kind of game kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Neat concept that no one's ever going to do, but...
Star Souls, right.
I played a game recently that made me think that they were going to do this interesting genre crossover. And it was called Midnight Acres. Midnight Acres, I believe, is in early access right now. It just recently released. And the concept is that you run a farm. And so you do all of the kind of farmy stuff that you're normally used to, where you grow your garden and chop down trees and, mine for ores and stuff, and then you can build things. Do your trading and do your building of your fences and all of that good stuff, water and fertilize, all that. And that's what you do during the day. But there's
your day job, yeah.
That's your day job. There's a day-night cycle. And as night comes in, all these monsters come to try and raid your farm and get your magical little glowy seed that you have in the one specific plot on your land. So it's sort of like the magic crystal that you have to defend. And so they'll come and you have to figure out how to defend against it. And you can build turrets and stuff that you can use to defend and...
As a farmer does.
As a farmer does, you build turrets all over the place. Turrets, fences that they can't get around, all sorts of interesting things. And as nights progress, you get more dangerous monsters and larger swarms of monsters that come to your farm to try and take it over. And... so, at first I thought, oh, well, this is kind of an interesting idea, right? Because you have the farming aspect, but then it's also like a dangerous world where all of this stuff is coming out of the woodwork.
I think I was saying before, it sounds like a farming game by day and a tower defense game by night, almost.
Yes, it is. And the thing is that sounds like a really good idea until you play it.
I don't think it even sounds like a good idea. Tower defense games bore the shit out of me.
Well, I guess that what my thinking of it is that it would be like more of a combat fantasy kind of game, but with farming elements, almost like a more structured day-night cycle that you would have in, let's say, like a Rune Factory. Or, and I guess this is really what I was thinking. I was thinking of Dying Light. Because, like, in Dying Light, you have a very different game during the daytime hours and the nighttime hours, right? You have your basic zombies where you're kind of fighting off the zombies during the day, and then, like, those super uber zombies come out at night because they can't be around the sun. And then it goes from being the hunter to the hunted, So that kind of interesting dichotomy I really liked, and I thought that's what it was going to kind of be. You build up, and then you have to see if what you've built actually works. Anyway, long story short, I refunded this game. It is rare that happens, but I did it for this, because after about an hour of trying to figure out how I would make this game fun, I just stopped trying. They give you the resources to, like, start growing everything, and it's in real time. It's not done by day after day after day. All your plants grow on little timers, essentially. So I'm sitting there, and I'm growing my garden, and I have, like, a handful of tomato seeds, and I'm planting the tomato seeds, and you gotta fertilize them. Okay, I gotta make some fertilizer, I gotta go chop down some trees, get some fertilizer together, and I'm doing all of my regular, farmy game stuff. I fertilize, I can water them, and I'm waiting for them to grow. But by the time I do all of that, all of a sudden, it's nighttime, and the slimes are coming at me. And then the piranha plants are coming at me, and the spiders are coming at me. By the way, there's 3 different kinds of enemies that they load you down with on night 1. That's a pretty big learning curve. You have 3 different kinds of enemies that attack you on night 1. And before you know it, the first thing they want to do is destroy all your plants. They go after your plants. So I'm trying to grow my tomato seeds, and then they destroyed like half the tomatoes. And I don't have like a weapon by this point, and I haven't been able to afford turrets because I needed stone, and I had not been provided with an axe by that point.
Which you totally used to chop stone.
Or a pickaxe, sorry.
Oh, okay.
That's the kind of axe I meant. Pretend I put
stone.
pick in front of that axe. That's what it was. Anyway, I had an axe for the wood, but I didn't have a pickaxe for the stone. So now I'm like, I just have my axe in my hand, and I'm like, well, maybe I'll just use the axe to try and hit these guys. But, you know, I died. And after I died, they basically say, okay, well, you can restart the day. But I'm on day 1. So it starts me back at the beginning of the game again. So now I'm gotta do the day over and try this again. And then the second time, I didn't die. But the monsters ransacked my gem and destroyed that, and that also ends the day. So back to the start I go again. So, third attempt at day 1, I start thinking, okay, so basically, this isn't a farming game. This is a tower defense game, like you thought it was. So, I have to play it like that. This is no longer a calm and relaxing experience like the game had actually suggested, like, hey, chill farming elements. No, this is not a chill farming game. This is a tower defense game now, because these two things don't really work well together.
Did it tutorialize you at all about the night aspect of the game?
Oh, I knew that the night aspect was going to be part of it. That they
Sure,
were
no.
going to
I mean,
attack.
did the game, in-game, teach you anything about that?
Just that there are monsters that are going to come to your farm, and you need to be able to defend against it.
Okay, did it give you any resources to do that?
They gave me a workbench, and the workbench had some schematics on it, like to build turrets and stuff. But in order to build turrets, I needed stone, and I didn't have a pickaxe. And I didn't know how to make a pickaxe.
Okay, so they gave you the tools to do the thing, but not the tool to get the stuff to do the thing.
Correct.
So it sounds like they have an issue of pacing.
Yes, because I would not have, first of all, expected there to be 3 different kinds of monsters you meet on night 1. I would think that they'd start with just, like, one kind of basic monster, like the little blobby things come at you. And also, not to the number that they do. Because it's really like waves of these monsters coming at you even on night 1. From all directions. So, from like the front and the back and everything. So, as you're going off and saying, ooh, there's some blobby guys over here, and I start smacking them, before you know it, they're attacking your farm because the blobby guys from the other side came in. But yeah, no, 3 different kinds of monsters. It's just way too ramped up right up at the front.
Yeah, it sounds like they shouldn't be in early access as much as they should be in, hey, we're still beta testing this. Give us your feedback.
Right. I would have thought that night 1 should be your layup. You know, usually in most games, night 1 is your tutorial layup to make sure that you can, you know, here's how you're going to defend yourself against this night 1, and then kind of like off to the races. It's very hands-off in that way. Maybe because they wanted people to feel like it was a bigger exploration thing, because I know there are mines that you can go into eventually, and so you can explore the world a little bit more, and you know, go into dungeons and stuff, even though you have the farm. But, like, obviously there's work that they need to do on the game in order for it to be playable beyond night 1. Because I did, on third attempt, I did eventually get in gear, and I did get through night 1. But then I was like, oh, this is the rest of the game, isn't it? And I was like, I don't want to play the rest of this game, because I now don't care about how the structure goes. But the bigger problem, and the thing I really wanted to talk about, was that I realized that these are two different genres that just do not work well together, because they're being played for very different reasons. When people play a tower defense game, you're playing a tactical game.
Yeah.
Farming games, life sims, are not supposed to be that kind of a tactical experience. They're very chill in that regard. I can make my farm and I can build up my farm, but I'm not really that worried about my farm failing or getting ransacked. It's not as much fun if every time I build stuff, some slime comes along and starts destroying it. There's a reason why I never in Stardew Valley built the slime farms or engaged with the things where you can actually have slimes come to your farm at night, because the slimes will just destroy stuff.
Yeah.
And why you build scarecrows all the time to keep the crows from eating your seeds, you know?
Yeah, I feel like scarecrows in this game should do something to scare monsters. I don't know, demoralize them.
That would be great, yeah. Maybe they do.
It feels like it should be a tower defense game first,
And
then a farming game second.
Yeah.
So that instead of like having the farming aspect be the first thing you learn, maybe you have the first thing you learn be the tower defense. And maybe instead of being a chill farming experience, you make it a tactical farming experience.
You could arrange it almost like it was Plants vs. Zombies, you know?
Not even like that. Maybe you could grow vines, and the vines help to entangle monsters.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like if it's going to be a tower defense, and that's the part that has a fail state, if the farming doesn't have a fail state, then that should be the part that's the main focus.
Right.
So, tower defense first, farming second, but the farming can enhance your tower defense, for instance, or encourage it in different ways.
Right.
So, you go, I'm going to grow a corn maze over here, you know? I'm going to grow a bunch of corn to make it so their vision is obscured, or they have to go slower, or maybe I grow vines, or maybe I grow these poisonous plants over here, you know, or they're not poisonous to people to eat, but they're poisonous to these monsters. Because then you're going, okay, well, it's really a tower defense game, and there's this ancillary part that is farming, where you can reap the benefits of either maybe plants get, I don't know, are the plants used to just make you money?
The plants are used mostly so that you can grow fruit and vegetables, and I think that those are used eventually in cooking recipes or something to that, and you probably sell them. You also get money by defeating the monsters. So you could have just made the one money thing be the monsters, you know, as a concept. But I like what you're talking about, the idea that the actual farming aspect is the tower defense aspect, essentially.
I don't feel like having them separate does it any service.
It is strange, because the only interaction that they really have is that the enemies want to destroy your farm. So you're building the farm, because the monsters want to destroy it, then you have to do this other thing, which is to build up all the defenses and everything to keep your farm safe. But
I would almost say just try to not even, like, ignore the farming aspect at that point and just build tower defense.
Yeah, you know what, that might be an interesting thing to try. If anyone out there actually does have Midnight Acres, and you've had an experience with it, try just ignoring the farming aspect and see if it works out okay, because it seems like it's just a bigger problem. I have to put a bunch of resources into getting some tomatoes, but I also have to put a ton of resources into keeping the tomatoes safe from the hordes of monsters.
You could just, you said you had, one glowing seed that can't die?
There's one glowing seed that has to be protected above all else.
So you just put fences around it?
Yeah, and you learn how to do fences. You learn how to do
Yeah.
fences. So, yeah, you just go and chop down as many trees as you can and start putting down fences all over the place with the wood that you get and do that. Maybe
And
that
then
would work.
turrets. And
But
just do that. And just earn all your money through killing monsters and just go chop wood instead of farming.
but that's going to undermine the whole idea that you even had a farming game in the first place. So that's kind of the point.
I'm just wondering if that would work because
Oh, yeah.
if they're so far divorced that the farming is just
Ancillary.
gonna get destroyed,
Yeah.
then I don't see a reason to not try that if that's a thing.
Sure. Yeah. Or if I could just keep the seed on me at that point, it's like I'm just gonna put it in my backpack and then I'm gonna go traveling.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. If I could move it around, that'd be cool. Put it in the
yeah,
barn.
it sounds weird to have them again, two genres that sound like they might go together but don't because of the way they did it. I think someone else could probably put those two genres together
Sure.
and to make them work. Again, if it were a tactical farming game, not Plants vs. Zombie, but like you have to tactically think out and plan what you're doing. That might be more interesting than what you're telling me about this game.
Right. I think it has everything to do, just in a larger sense, about what kind of experience that you want to get out of a game. And if you're trying to take two different things that lend themselves to a different kind of playing style, you're going to have a lot of things to overcome, which is how do you synergize them in a way that's going to make sense. Me building a farm is a very different experience than me trying to defend a tower. Even things like a shooting game and then like an RPG, those can be tricky if they're kind of divorced from each other. Because some people will play the RPGs for like the story and the character development, but it's hard to do that if you're also trying to focus on a Twitch shooter. You know, those things can be very difficult to rectify. Not entirely impossible, but...
You gotta do Time Crisis.
Yeah, do Time Crisis, exactly.
Do a Twitch shooter, but you can't shoot the hostages.
You can't shoot the hostages, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But there are some things that just are not going to go together very well. You can't really do something like a Final Fantasy and at the same time try to do like a Rainbow Six. Like, it's not going to make a lot of sense to try and put some of these things together, no matter how much you might like them. Because I might like playing this kind of game and this kind of game, but together, it gets tricky. It is exactly that. Like, sometimes you can put the peanut butter and the chocolate together and you get the peanut butter cup. But sometimes you think to yourself, ooh, I really like tuna fish, and I really like ice cream, but when you put the two of them together, it will not work. It will not work. No. Tuna fish ice cream does sound kind of... Should we try that? The tuna fish ice cream genre. What are some of the worst things that we could put together for genres?
What about a horror cozy game?
Yeah, like
a
an
jump scare cozy game.
Yeah, a jump scare. Oh my god. Can you imagine you have to do like it's PT, but you're going around the house trying to repair different like furniture that's in the house while PT is happening.
No, I think I've seen a game that does something similar. It's not PT itself, but it's like haunted house renovator or something.
See, this also sounds like a very bad idea. This sounds like a recipe
it
for
sounded
disaster.
ridiculous. Like, I think it was multiplayer, so it's almost like a Phasmophobia ghost hunting, but like you've got to get rid of that ghost and like clean the house up so you can renovate it. And I was like, what an odd mix.
Yes.
Because I'm a fan of like House Flipper.
Yeah.
I am waiting with bated breath for December 14th when House Flipper 2 comes out because it's multiplayer. And Crave and I both like to play it, so we're probably going to play it together. It's just a very relaxing game, you know? It's I can decorate and do all this stuff. So throwing in some horror elements or spooky elements like that is a little interesting at one point, but also like, what the fuck at the other point?
Sure. Okay. Ooh, what about Power Wash Simulator and Roller Coaster Tycoon?
I would love to pressure wash a fucking roller coaster.
Yeah, but see, you have to build the roller coaster theme park and then you have to keep power washing it while the park is in service.
I don't think that sounds like it wouldn't work. I think it sounds like people would just metagame the shit out of it and just build easy parks to clean.
Yeah, I think that there are just some, like Skyrim and Halo. Like, I like Halo, and I like Skyrim, but I would not normally think of trying to do, like, a tactical shooter in the world of Skyrim. Although, as I say that, it would make dealing with dragons a lot easier, but I think it kind of undermines the very concept of being the world that it is. How dangerous it was.
If you have any ideas of games that do mixed genre poorly, or other ideas for genres that you think would go together poorly, or any games you've played that just kind of are like, what? Maybe it's like Midnight Acres and it doesn't really work because the two genres really just don't mesh. You should let us know.
Yeah.
That's you, Clayton Calix.
That's right.